Many people already know that the good way to progress in your field of craft is to perform a physical practice of that particular activity. We can also aid the overall progression by adding the additional measures of training which are directly related to what we are trying and aiming to achieve and accomplish. On top of that, there are more great ways of engagement. There are non-physical, rather psychological and mental, but that is a subject within itself for another video. This video is focused on the physical training, and it can also serve as an introduction to what might eventually and potentially turn into extended vlog series. With all that being said, let's get right into it. The practical exercises presented by me here are to support your skill development in relation to strapless kitesurfing and overall surfing itself, but also they will allow you to build a great foundation in regards to your skating skills. I am very passionate about riding waves on what is referred to as directional board, and what that means in simple terms is just a surfboard. I do it with assistance of a kite in form of kite surfing, or rather strapless kite surfing. Yet due to my location where the wind fluctuates, so in essence it might not always be there or it might not be strong enough, the overall engagement with that fantastic sport can be limited for me. Here's what I can do and also what you can do, and what I encourage you from the beginning of this video to continue our journey to become the best, or for some of you just to continue have fun with kitesurfing regardless of the conditions on the water. Let me say this to start. Any skateboard that you've got lying around, or you can put your hands on, rather you can put your feet on, shall I say, will do the job at the beginning. You might want to look into surf skateboards eventually. By the way, those type of boards allow you to carve a little bit more prominent, so they are built to allow you to go from heel side to toe side and toe side to heel side to greater extent. And also they allow you to do something called infinite pumping, where there is no need to push with the leg. You can just go again from heel side, toe side, heel side, and keep riding. But you don't need anything extra fancy to start and at the beginning anyway. Remember, it's all about the engagement and doing it. So try to avoid distracting yourself with unnecessary things by thinking too much and concluding to yourself that what you already have isn't good enough. It's all illusionary thoughts. One more very important point to mention before we really get into the physical and exercise part of this video is that when you are at the beginning of your journey and skating is completely new to you, use some safety equipment. Hard hat is very recommended. Also, the additional knee, elbow and wrist pads would be good. And then on top of that, take your time, set your own pace and have fun. Our first exercise is to practice the carves on a flat surface, which can be a quiet road or a skate park. Just be mindful that when you're on any public road, there can be some sort of transit of cars, people, animals, and so on appearing all of a sudden, even on the most quiet road. So pay attention to your environment and things changing around you quite rapidly and quickly. And by doing so at the same time, you are practicing additional vital and crucial skill of awareness. And that skill can go very long way both in sports, in individual disciplines or in team-based sports, but also especially in your personal life. Let's get back to our first exercise. Once we found our spot, we are going to focus on carving toe side, carving hillside, and eventually we're gonna focus on linking carves, so going, for example, toe side to hillside and vice versa. Get good few rounds of those carves, which are going to serve as a warm-up. We can expand and develop this exercise even further by implementing a little bit more structure to it with an additional gear, like for example plastic or rubber combs. But if you're like me and you don't want to take this additional stuff with you, you can utilize the things that you've got with yourself. So for example, you're going to see me using my backpack, hoodie and plastic bag. With those items I can create a specific path that I am going to ride my skateboard around. But also, if you don't have too much stuff with you, you can utilize the point of reference already on your flat surface. That could be things like these circles. So I can use 1, 2, 3, and there's another one. These are just the sewer circles, so I could use that and perform my carves. Ultimately, we can utilize already existing points of reference like lines painted on the road for the cars or bollards sticking from the ground. Once all of that is sorted, I can start with my toe side carve, which in the water would be my bottom turn, then go into my front side top turn. And the reason why my top turn is called front side, for those of you who don't know, is because in the water I would be facing the wave. So for the same reasons, if on the wave on your top turn you are facing the beach and your back is towards the wave, you would perform what we would call a backside top turn, which in essence would be your, at the same time, toe side carve. On my second round, I can enter with the hillside bottom turn and lead it into the toe side top turn. After each S-carve, and what I mean here by S-carve is the initial down the wave and up the wave and so on maneuvers, because on the water we are going to be creating S-like shape patterns. And this is exactly what I was just explaining to you seconds ago in relation to our toe side, hillside, toe side carving. So again, after each S-carve, we can add a jibe, which is going to be either toe side or hillside, depending on our last top turn or our last carve. Since we are changing the direction, we can call this maneuver the jibe itself, and for purpose of our exercise, we can call this maneuver, let's say, the roundhouse. So our exercise in a full form, when we link in all those maneuvers, will look like, for example, toe side, bottom turn, to hillside top turn, and then do what I would call a roundhouse. So a turn like a jibe at the end, as if I'm changing direction on the strapless surfboard. And then I can reverse that exercise, and I could do entrance with a hillside bottom turn to toe side top turn, and then do the roundhouse at the end. So we can very easily add this additional structure to the exercise, and that way it can be fun, it can be challenging. Doing so, we can very effectively train both front side and back side carves, which in relation to strapless kitesurfing and surfing and even skating are a must. My stance on a skateboard is a goofy stance, which means with the right leg forward. When I'm riding my strapless surfboard while kitesurfing, I need to be able to perform both. So at times, regular stance, and a goofy stance. This shows you how now kitesurfing can aid our overall skating skills, which is a great example of this efficiency and effectiveness. In essence, this interconnectiveness of activities which I was mentioning at the beginning of this video. The second exercise is my favorite, wave riding. To utilize this exercise the most, we have to find an area with an incline or a ramp. The incline itself does not have to be great to start with. It's even better to start with a smaller ramp just to give us enough downward motion. Bigger the incline, more speed you will have to build up to go up our training wave soon after our bottom turn. And at this point, we are not focusing too much on speed, rather on the technique of the maneuvers. Also, another good point is to find an incline area which is wider than longer downhill, because it will allow you to perform one full bottom turn and one full top turn at ease. And as you get better at it, you will start making your turns tighter, and then eventually you would be able to fit more of them during your circuits and during your runs. Similarly to the previous exercise, we are going to perform bottom turns into top turns, both front side and back side. Performing this exercise on an incline gives us an excellent reference to how it feels on a water wave. I find personally this part of training very exciting, since it feels like riding waves. You might find this exercise quite challenging at first, especially with the downhill riding motion and slight angle at which you're going to ride. But if you give it a few tries and you build some confidence at it, you'll start to love it. Just remember again, avoid getting frustrated if things are not working out as quickly as you would like them to. Remember that you are working on developing new muscle memories, which requires try and error. We've got 2 more exercises to go through. In total, we've got 4 in this video. Those remaining 2 are quite fun and they're quite quick. And also there are more on a strapless freestyle kitesurfing side of things. Our third exercise is the ollie, or simply pop. And yes, when you hear about ollie on a skateboard, you might think straight away of riding and popping off and, for example, on top of the curb. But don't worry, we're not going to be doing that. We are going to be more stationary during this exercise. You can put your skateboard on a grass or another non-slippery and fairly soft surface. The ollie itself, or popping your board, is all about 2 things happening almost simultaneously and at the same time, and those 2 things are kicking from your back leg at the back of the board and lifting the knee of the front leg immediately after the kick from the back. At the beginning, doing those 2 things at the same time may feel a little bit strange, and you may even feel like your stance is a little bit awkward, but more you try and practice, better it gets, and to the point that when it starts to feel almost natural to you and very comfortable. Remember, we've been mentioning earlier the muscle memory theory. You can do 10 repetitions on one side and then switch sides and repeat another 10 repetitions on the other side. We are both training the regular stance and goofy stance. With time, you're gonna multiply your repetitions and you can aim, for example, to do 30 jumps on each side, like in 3 sets of 10. Our fourth and last exercise for this video is a board hand flip. Ultimately, we are going to use the skills gained during this exercise during our board of strapless jumps while kite surfing, which still may be far ahead of us in terms of our progression, but it's good to start practicing this from now, build some foundation, and also we can use this exercise as a nice breakthrough. We can use this to catch some breath in between the other exercises, since it's a quite stationary exercise. You can start with either arm by holding the board in front of you. When you are ready, throw the board in the air, initiating the flip using your fingers. Flip the board with the rotation towards you and just watch your feet in case of missing the catch. In that situation, let the board just drop on the ground. You should be standing on a soft surface, so there isn't going to be any damage to the board. Repeat for around 10 reps and then switch hands. Eventually aim for multiple sets. You can do 3 sets of 10 throws. That is all for now, and I am looking forward to hearing from you in the comment section below of what you think about the exercises presented in this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, then go and do so. With all that being said, as always, remember, be inspired, be creative, and be active. I'll see you soon. On to the next one.